Opening with the king's pawn controls the center and opens up the light-squared bishop and queen, often leading to sharp games. E5 is a common response that establishes a presence in the center, controls d4, and opens up the queen and dark-squared bishop. Knight f3 develops the knight toward the center, attacks the e5 pawn, and prepares to castle. Knight c6 develops the knight toward the center, protects the pawn on e5, and eyes the d4 square. The Italian game starts with bishop c4, which attacks the f7 pawn and prepares to castle quickly. Knight f6 develops the knight and attacks the undefended e4 pawn. d3 protects the e4 pawn and the c4 bishop and allows the dark-squared bishop to develop. Bishop c5 develops the bishop, attacks the f2 pawn, and prepares castling. c3 controls the d4 square and opens the diagonal for the queen at the cost of occupying the queenside knight's natural developing square. This creates a pawn chain, linked pawns that form a strong structure. This moves the bishop to a better location, allowing it to control more squares. Castling kingside tends to be safer than queenside because the king is further from the center. The bishop moves forward into the game. Solid choice in the opening. This misses an opportunity to prepare a retreat square for the king. White develops the knight and attacks the center. A very strong play. A solid choice. That's fine. That's not a mistake, but it's not the best move either. Right on target. This is a fair move. That's fine. This forces the opponent to create weakened backward pawns. Takes back. Very precise. This offers to exchange pieces of equal value. That's an unfortunate error. There were worse moves, but also something much better. This misses a much better move. This is the only good move. Applying pressure to white's pawn chain. The knight finds a new active square. One of the best moves. That's not a mistake, but it's not the best move either. This moves the bishop to a better location, allowing it to control more squares. This is the strongest option. This overlooks an opportunity to develop a rook off its starting square. This prevents the opponent from being able to tactically win a pawn. The piece is on its way to a better position. The knight now occupies a secure outpost. The piece finds a new active square. This is the only move that works. This defends a pawn that was under attack and had no defenders. With the queen now developed as well, black has all pieces ready for action. The rooks can see each other now, allowing them to provide mutual defense. Black's piece has moved to a square with greater activity and control. A very strong play. Right on target. This allows the opponent to force an isolated pawn. This overlooks an opportunity to force an isolated pawn. This overlooks an opportunity to block an attack on a vulnerable pawn. Very precise. This is the strongest option. This is a fair move. White's knight has moved to a square with greater activity and control. This threatens to sacrifice a bishop for a nice tactic. This stops the opponent from being able to sacrifice a bishop for a nice tactic. This threatens to win a bishop by pinning a piece. After all captures, this is an equal trade. This is an equal trade. Only one move worked there, and this wasn't it. This permits the opponent to force an isolated pawn. This misses an opportunity to force an isolated pawn. This is not the right idea. This overlooks an opportunity to create a pawn chain. White begins maneuvering the piece toward a more active square. Right on target. That's fine. This moves the bishop to a better location, allowing it to control more squares. There were worse moves, but also something much better. This connects the rooks, which helps them work together. White's piece has moved to a square with greater activity and control. This is an equal trade. Very precise. This is the only move that works. This defends a bishop that was under attack and had no defenders. This move puts the rook on a safer square. This creates a pawn chain, linked pawns that form a strong structure. This is not the right idea. This is the strongest option. The game was close to equal, but now black has the advantage. The rook is kicked by a pawn and must now move or be captured. This move puts the rook on a safer square. This moves the bishop to a more active square, making it gain scope. The knight finds a new active square. Black had an advantage, but now the game is close to equal. This missed an opportunity to punish a mistake. The advantage has moved from black to white. This overlooks a better way to recapture a piece. This threatens to tactically win a queen. This fights against the other rook for the open file. That's not a mistake, but it's not the best move either. This is an equal trade. Takes back. This threatens to take an outpost with a knight. This wins a pawn. This misses an opportunity to capture a knight that was threatening to win material. This is the only move that works. This maintains the balance in material with a good trade. Recaptures. There was only one good move there. This permits the opponent to sacrifice a rook for a nice tactic. Only one move worked there, and this wasn't it. This is the way to win a pawn. This captures a queen that checked the king. Takes back. This defends the attacked pawn. That was a free pawn. This is a fair move. This is the only move that works. This activates the king in the endgame by getting it off of the back rank. A solid choice. The bishop finds a new active square. This move puts the knight on a safer square. This defends a pawn that was under attack and had no defenders. That's fine. This wins material. This evades the check from the rook. Right on target. White's knight has moved to a square with greater activity and control. That pawn was free for the taking. White will be winning a pawn with that fork. This activates a rook by getting it to the 7th rank and also restricts the king.